The United States of America is a highly developed country with a thriving economy. However, not everything is smooth sailing in the US. Even the FBI headquarters can't always help reduce the crime rate to a minimum. Today, you will learn about the most dangerous cities in America. Our list begins with the state of Minnesota and its largest city, Minneapolis, where the crime rate is lower than the national average. The name literally means City of Lakes. The city was destined to become a trade center thanks to its developed transportation network and the St. Anthony Falls, which are currently the largest source of hydroelectric power on the Mississippi River. Minneapolis is growing rapidly with ongoing efforts to maintain and develop residential neighborhoods, each with its own unique atmosphere. Why is the city considered to be crime-ridden then? Well, it all goes back to the events of 2020. The murder of George Floyd led to massive riots, which escalated the crime rate in the city. While the protest organizers aimed to keep the protests peaceful, their sheer scale made it difficult to maintain order. Protests with Black Lives Matter slogan swept across the country, leading to looting, robberies and clashes with the police in many states. These riots occurred during a challenging time, as the COVID-19 pandemic had left many people unemployed, which contributed to the rise in crime. Due to the protests and looting, many businesses in the city remained closed and the streets became unsafe. Alaska became part of the United States in 1912, with the purchase deal from the Russian Empire signed in 1867. The price was just $7.2 million. In Russia, this deal is considered one of the worst of all time, and the United States also views it as a failure. Anchorage is the largest city in the state of Alaska. It was built around the Alaska Railroad and started growing quickly during World War II. The construction of the Anchorage International Airport and the discovery of the Prudhoe Bay oil field fueled its development further. The northernmost city in the US has a relatively high crime rate, although it's been slowly decreasing in recent years. Property crimes are a significant issue in Alaska, with street robberies involving violence being relatively common. And this is not all the crime that occurs in Alaska. Anchorage has seen many high-profile cases, such as the period from 1971 to 1983, when Robert Hansen kidnapped, raped and murdered at least 17 and possibly more than 30 women. In 2016, James Dale Ritchie killed at least 5 people and wounded 1 police officer. New Orleans in the state of Louisiana is the most populous city in the state. The city is known for its nightlife, music and cuisine. Every year, it hosts festivals and carnivals, and its distinctive feature is its mixed architecture. The city's nightlife negatively impacts its crime rate. New Orleans is often referred to as the murder capital of the United States. Over the past 4 years, the number of homicides on its streets has increased significantly. The city government is trying everything to reduce the crime rate. In September, New Orleans officials announced an $80 million plan to increase police salaries, offer free medical services, and provide $30,000 in enhanced incentives for new hires in the department. However, even such decisive actions haven't improved the situation in the city. In 2022, 280 murders were recorded, which is well above the national average. Cleveland is the second most populous city in Ohio. The city is home to numerous universities, and Ohio ranks among the top in the country for the quality of medical services provided. Much of this is due to the world-renowned Cleveland Clinic, a national leader in cardiology. Cleveland became the first city for the number of violent crimes committed, and in the list of the worst cities to live in, it ranked 5th in 2016. Most crimes occur in East Cleveland, so it is safer to visit other areas of the city. The city has a significant homeless population, so it's advisable not to carry a lot of cash. Street robberies are frequent. A high level of drug use, high unemployment, gang activity and crime have contributed to the high crime rate. However, tourists have nothing to fear. By following some safety precautions, even a lone woman can walk around the city during the day and night. Baltimore is a city on the East Coast and is the largest city in the state of Maryland. The city boasts many major employers, contributing to its well-developed economy. Among the largest employers are Morgan State University and the National Medical Center of Johns Hopkins University. Despite having major employers, the city still experiences a high crime rate, significantly surpassing the national average. The number of violent crimes sharply increased in 2015 due to the death of Freddie Gray at the hands of the police. The city was engulfed in waves of protests and disturbances, which led to a rise in robberies, vandalism, and violence. However, until 2012 to 2013, the crime rate gradually decreased, which was attributed to the continuous attention of city authorities to former criminals and increased community involvement. But the decline in crime rates in Baltimore was short-lived, because in 2012 and 2013, the crime rates rose again. In 2015, the city recorded a total of 344 homicides. And next, you'll learn some chilling facts about the capital of the United States. At the beginning of the video, we mentioned a city that ranks in the top 20 for crime rates. That city is Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. It's often referred to as the District of Columbia or simply D.C. to avoid confusion with the state of Washington. The city has a population of over 600,000 residents, but during working days, the influx of suburban residents increases the population to over 1 million. Like all major cities, Washington, D.C. faces issues with crime. Despite being home to the headquarters of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Drug Enforcement Administration, the drug epidemic of the 1980s and 1990s had a significant impact on the city, leading to a substantial increase in crime. The peak saw 482 homicides in 1991. Crime rates gradually began to decrease in the mid-1990s and have since halved compared to the 1980s and 1990s. This transformation was achieved through efforts by authorities to improve neighborhoods, investments in business, and various economic projects aimed at enhancing the quality of life for residents. While these actions have attracted new residents, the crime problem is not entirely resolved, and the streets may still be unsafe at times. Detroit, the capital of the American auto industry in the 1950s, was a massive industrial conglomerate at the time. Almost all major automobile factories in the country were concentrated in Detroit. Renowned brands like Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors were headquartered there. These factors contributed to the city's economic development. However, in the 1950s, a brain drain of highly skilled professionals began as the most affluent population moved away, which led to economic problems. The culmination of this decline came with the 1973 oil crisis, affecting almost all car manufacturers. Factories in the city started closing one after another, and the population exodus intensified. Abandoned areas appeared in the city, where homeless people and marginalized individuals settled. All of this increased the crime rate in the city. Currently, Detroit still faces significant crime problems. The American city of Birmingham is located in the state of Alabama. It was named after the British city of Birmingham, an industrial center in England, which became famous after the TV series Peaky Blinders. In the state of Alabama, it is the largest city, with over 200,000 residents as of 2018. Birmingham is also one of the important industrial centers in America. Crime problems have not spared this city either. American Birmingham is dangerous because it has troubling homicide statistics. Some areas of the city should be avoided as they are frequented by gangs. However, it's not all bad news. Some areas are safe for tourists, even if they're traveling alone. Authorities are making efforts to minimize crime in the city, allocating significant resources for this purpose. Therefore, police patrols are often seen on the streets. The American city of St. Louis, located in the state of Missouri, is recognized as one of the most dangerous cities in the United States, earning it the infamous nickname Sin City. In 2010, it ranked first among the most dangerous cities in America. This reputation stems from the migration of the most affluent segment of the population to other cities and suburbs and the changing economic structure of the city in the 1950s. Since then, the city has had fewer residents and an increase in serious crimes. Various crimes from drug trafficking to rapes and murders were committed in the city. According to FBI data, in 2009, the United States averaged 429.4 such crimes per 100,000 residents. In St. Louis, the second largest city in the state of Missouri and one of the largest cities in the relatively prosperous American Midwest, this figure exceeded 2,000. These are impressive numbers, aren't they? Next on the list is a city where statistically every 16th resident becomes a victim of crime. Oakland, an ethnically diverse community with a population of over 400,000, ranks 8th on the list of the most dangerous megacities in the United States. The crime rate here is approximately 4 times higher than the national average. Despite a decrease in violent crime levels in 2016 to 2017, the current crime rate is 235% higher than the national average. The city records 6,664 crimes per 100,000 residents, with 104 cases of rape, 610 robberies, and 3,655 thefts. Police patrols are everywhere, but it doesn't seem to help. The city still has a significant presence of gangs involved in drug trafficking. If you want to visit the city as a tourist, you don't need to worry too much. During the day, there's almost nothing to fear, except for a large number of homeless individuals that might affect your casual stroll around the city. However, it's not as safe at night, especially if you're alone. It's better to move around in a group. And next, we'll tell you how safe it is in the most touristy city in the United States. New York rightfully holds the title of the most touristy city in the United States. In 2010, it was visited by more than 48 million people. The city is also the largest in the country, with a population of approximately 8.5 million residents. Why are there so many tourists and residents? Well, it's because New York is almost the country's main economic center. Countless financial organizations have established themselves in the city. Wall Street is known worldwide, and there are high-end ateliers and boutiques everywhere. But we're not here for that. We're here to learn about crime rates in the largest city in the United States. You'll be surprised to hear that the crime rate in New York is quite low. Of course, in the 1980s and 1990s, the city faced numerous problems related to crime. During those times, the statistics were far from reassuring, with several thousand homicides per month. But things have improved significantly nowadays. Since the city became a tourist hub, authorities have devoted all efforts to make it safe, and the statistics confirm this. Serious crimes are now at an average level, just like in the rest of the country. So when visiting this beautiful city, there's no need to be afraid. In conclusion, we'd like to caution you that not all cities in developed countries are safe. There are almost always dangerous neighborhoods that should be avoided. However, in tourist cities and areas, it's generally safe since authorities invest a lot of resources and effort into their protection.